Hey, hey, hey! Welcome to Chatting with C. I am your host, Miss C. How are y'all? Hope everything is going well in your world. Just stopping through to chat a little bit. Just about something that I keep hearing a lot of lately. And it's not that I know something all about, because I don't know all about it. I just have done it a couple of times. So I thought it would be a good topic for me to just kind of share a little bit about my experience um, as far as moving. I am hearing a lot of people, a lot of conversations I'm having are people wanting to move from their home states, mainly, are people who want to move from their home states. And a lot of times it's their first time wanting to do it. And I think it's phenomenal. I think there's nothing in the world like packing up and moving to another place and trying it out. You're not obligated to stay there for forever. You're not obligated to never be able to go back home. I mean, you're not restricted from being able to go back home to your home state or to any other place after that. Um, I personally feel like I have had some of the best experiences in my life um, by moving away from home. I have lived in three different states at this point in life by myself in all three. Just kind of packed up and just dipped, which I, of course, have been able to do because it's just me, right? Like, I don't have to really worry about kids or, those kind of things. When I move, I really just get to kind of go. So that's, for me, that's been really beneficial. Now, people who are moving who have kids and stuff, you have different things to think about and consider, right? And I totally understand and get that as well. So sometimes you want to move, but it's not the right time because the kids are in school, or, you want them to be able to finish high school with their friends or whatever the case may be, right? So there are things like that that people have to take into consideration, or that people do take into consideration before moving. And I totally agree with that, because you have to follow your own heart, right? You have to follow your own truth. You have to know for you why you're doing something. However, I definitely think moving and trying something new by yourself in your marriage with kids um, is life changing, whether it becomes the place that you end up living for forever, or if it's a place that you live just for a little bit on your journey, and then you move to somewhere else and maybe somewhere else, or maybe it's a place you move to and you decide that was great, I'm going to go back home. I still think it's a great experience to do that. A lot of people ask, like, well, how do you know when to move? Like, how do you know, like, it's right? Like, I'm looking at it and I feel like I want to move, but it's just so many moving pieces and so many parts, and I don't know if it's right or if it's wrong, if I should do it, if I shouldn't do it. Oh my gosh, oh my God, I don't know what to do, right? First, breathe. First, breathe. Relax. There's really no wrong answer here, right? As long as you're following your heart and really trusting yourself, your intuition, and really believing that the universe has you, there's really no wrong way, right? A lot of people decide like they want to make sure they have a job first before they move. There's nothing wrong with that. Um, Two of the places I lived, I did not have a job when I moved. Nope. I didn't. I had a place to live. I had my car. I had some money, but I didn't have a job. And when I first moved, that was me though. Like, I was okay to go out into the world and try it and see what would happen. Some people are afraid to do that. And the thing about it is, if we're always waiting for stuff to be perfect, to align the way that we think it is, we're going to be waiting a long time. Okay, let me tell you that out the gate. If you're waiting for everything to be perfect and for every piece of everything to fall in place and you're going to be stuck. You're going to stay right where you are in a lot of different areas, not just as far as moving, but in a lot of spaces in your life. life is an experience, it's a journey, and we have to take risks. We have to be willing to trust and to jump out there. Everything is not going to align. You can have the job, the place, the car, and get down there and the job closed down. You still got to find a new job. Like that. Like, I'm just saying, you could get down there and find out like this is the most racist company you've ever worked for or something. I don't know, but like you would still have to find a new job. So does that mean that you're going to pack up and go back home until you find a new job? Like, no, you're already there. So you got to, like, you in it now. It's the same concept to me in that space. Now, one thing for me is I need to have a place to live. Now, that is my thing. Some people are like, hey, I will go out there and find a place when I get there. I did do that one time. On one of my moves when I lived in Chicago. I had some friends to stay with initially, but I didn't find an actual place to live until I got to Chicago. And I stayed with some friends for maybe like a week, and then I found a place and then I moved in. That worked out. Highly not recommended, but I jumped, I took the risk, and I was out there and I had to make it work. And I trusted that I was supposed to be there. I trusted that the universe would take care of me. And I used the resources that I had available to me. You know, you have to use your resources, know your resources, you know. And it ended up working out. So I have done that before as well. I just think that, you know, knowing when to move is really a personal thing. I think it's really important to know why you're moving or what value moving is going to bring to your life or how it is in alignment with your future or who you are going to become. I think those things are important. I think the idea that a lot of people have is that, oh, because I hear people say this one all the time, and I did it too. So, but it is, let me tell you, this one. Well, once I get moved, then I'm going to start doing this, that, and the third. Well, once I move, then I'm going to get my life together and do this and this. Once I move, then this, and this is going to happen. It's a great idea. Obviously, right? If we're moving states or moving out of our homes, home states and moving somewhere else, the idea is to do something different, right? The idea is that we want to like grow and like experience something new. And a lot of that means that there's going to be change that comes. However, the concept that you think that you're going to move to some other state and automatically, magically become somebody different the first day that you touch down is not very realistic. And I say that from a space that anything that you're trying to do or trying to get to, you can be doing right now today with where you are. The idea that until we get to the next place, waiting until we get to the next place to start stuff is a limiting mindset, and it is a fearful mindset. And it is fear in the sense that we are fearful to start it now because, oh, then that means I'm not going to get to move, or oh, that means that it's really fear induced, because you should really be doing the work now today. It shouldn't take you moving over there for it to be different. Now, what does happen, though, is that you do move and you start to see a different culture. You start to see how people are doing things differently. So it kind of automatically makes you kind of look a little bit and say, oh, okay, these are areas and things. I can try that now. I can do this. And so you automatically are going to grow and change as you're trying to navigate that space. That's expected, right? But the idea that like, oh, once I move out of state, I'm gonna get my finances together. That's when it's gonna happen. Like, you should be getting your finances together now. You should have an idea, because see, you're already aware that your finances need something. You're already aware. You're already aware. To be able to say, once I move, I'm going to get my finances together, means that you are aware that your finances are not together where you'd like them to be, right? Awareness is the first step in anything. To change and growth is awareness. You need to be aware of something. So being aware, now you're able to say, oh, okay, I'm going to take accountability for it. and accept that I'm not where I would like to be, but I'm working towards it. Not when I get there, but today, because today is all we ever have, right? Like in this moment, you should be working on that. If that means taking a class today while you're waiting to move, if that means, getting your financial advisor, whatever that looks like to use to start saving money, whatever, right? It's not waiting until the next thing happens. It's actually taking the steps now, like right now, today, so that when you get there, what happens is that you have already set in motion that you want to get your finances together. So when you do move, what happens is that you end up aligning with people or opportunities that continue to keep you pushing forward on that mission. And that makes sense. And then you're able to really grow and evolve. But the idea that you're just going to move somewhere and all of a sudden magically your life is going to change and go, woo, all of a sudden, is not very likely. Some people, it has happened that they just automatically just like, everything they said they wanted to do, they stopped doing as soon as they moved. Like that happens to people, but it doesn't mean that there's no more growth to happen. Like, oh, they've hit it. Now they've done everything. Like you still have to keep growing. There's still new steps and levels to it. So whatever it is that you think is going to happen so magically for you in the next place, make sure that you understand that you don't always have to be somewhere else for things to happen. They can happen right there where you are. Some of it is really pre-work that needs to happen first before you even get to the next place. So some people try to move and nothing adds up. Like nothing actually works out for them. And so they don't end up getting to move and they can't figure out why. There's still some work that needs to be done individually on something before you jump out into the world. And that's the universe telling you that. It's not a no. It's a hold up. Let's take a look and make sure first. And that happens, and we need to be okay with that as well. When you're thinking about moving and is this the right time? If you pick a place that all of a sudden everything falls through and it's just terrible, then that's not where you're supposed to be. Go back to the drawing board. I did have that happen. I thought I really wanted to move to Jacksonville, Florida. Oh, I was excited. I had a college I was going to go to. Oh, I was ecstatic, honey, until I got to Jacksonville. It was a no for me. I immediately didn't feel a connection, a vibe. I did not feel inspired, motivated, happy, any of that in Jacksonville. I knew that trip that I went to look for apartments and to do all my orientation stuff for the school that I really wasn't feeling it. So I enjoyed the trip. Like, I went out and did the beach and all kinds of stuff. I just knew I didn't want to live there. And I was very grateful that I didn't pack up my car and just drive there. That this time I actually went first. And it just wasn't a fit. So when I got back to Denver, I was like, oh yeah, I don't want to do that. And then the school called and there was like all of this weird stuff that happened with the college and stuff. So there was like, oh, whew, I wasn't supposed to go there anyway. It wasn't a no, you can't move. It was just, that's not the right place for you. That's not going to actually help you grow into who you want to become, who you're going to become. That was going to cause me more stress, more of a headache to be down there. And then to be trying to figure out how to get back home because I was so miserable. And so sometimes we have to know that it's not a no. It's just that we need to kind of revamp it a little bit so that we can actually be successful, so that when we actually get to the next level, we can sustain it, to be honest. Those are things to kind of think about when you're moving. That's just my experience. I also think it's important to, a lot of times people feel it, like, right, your heart is craving, it's calling out for change, for growth. It is saying, I'm in this environment that I am suffocating. I cannot thrive here. Like your body, your heart, your intuition, all of that is calling. It's telling you that. That's a good sign it's time to move. Okay. And a lot of times people will have that, but they're so afraid of letting go. There's an attachment to home. There's an attachment to the city. There's an attachment to the people, the environment. And until you get to a place where you're really able to say, hey, this may be where it comes to a halt for me in order to get to the next level, I may need to leave here. Sometimes your goals cannot be met where you are at. And I notice a lot of people, when people move out of state and move to other states, and then their lives take off and like they start doing stuff in the communities, people from the home state be like, oh, they could have did that here. Oh, they packed up and moved and left, and now they think they this and that. The truth of the matter is those people were being stifled. Sorry. By staying at home, by staying in that environment. They were not able to thrive in the way that they needed to. And there are some people who are going to stay at home and they're actually going to flourish and thrive and never leave, or go and leave sometimes and come back and do things there. That happens. But for some people, in order to get to the next level in their lives, they need to leave the comfort of home. They need to leave the comfort of, and sometimes it's not even leaving the state, leaving your parents' house, leaving the circle of friends you hang out with, leaving the regular club scene you go to. I think in Denver, we used to, back in the day, I'm not old enough to have been a part, but it was called the Chitlin Circuit. And there was like all these clubs within that, right? So everybody would go to these like 5-6 clubs, like back in the day. And like sometimes it's leaving that. It's not even leaving the state. It's leaving the environments that are not conducive to your growth. Sometimes it doesn't even mean leaving your home state. There are other cities in your home state that you can move to that may be actually like beneficial for you. It's really tapping into you and knowing what you need and what you want and following that. But you can't be afraid to let go, and you have to understand attachments. Attachments will keep us limited. Attachments will stop our growth. Attachments are not our friends, right? Like they don't allow us to allow other people to be great, and they don't allow us to be great because we're so attached to the idea or the concept or whatever it is that we can't let it go so that we can go try something different and experience something different. If you want something different, you have to do something different. And a lot of times it's releasing particular attachments, mindsets, ideas, belief systems. It's challenging the things that you think that you've known or thought this entire time. Like, does that really make sense? Let me really look into that. Let me probe a little bit more and a little bit more. And then boom, oh my goodness, come to find out it's all an illusion. And anywho. So, those are things that I would say. That was my experience. When I moved here to Texas 3 years ago, I knew I wanted to be here. Every time I came, my energy, I felt the energy, I felt the vibes. I was like, oh my goodness, this is where I want to be. Like, it was just drawing me. When I made the decision and decided, okay, I'm going to try Houston. I'm moving to Texas. Once I made that decision, the universe seriously lined up everything else. And when I say lined up, I mean like everything lined up. The apartment I wanted, I got, like no deposit, anything. Like, oh yeah, you're good. I was like, okay. Movers, I had the cube. I had people come and move my stuff into the cube and send it down. And then I had a friend who actually packed up my cube. He had a friend that was already down here who he called and said, would you come and help her unpack it? Because I didn't have nobody help me unpack it. So then they came and helped me unpack it once I moved. Like, when I say it all went beautifully, I mean, there were some hiccups in there, some moments where I was like, oh my God, oh my gosh, right? But the universe, once I made the decision that that's what I wanted to do, this is where I was going, this is happening for me, the universe took care of everything else. That's how I know it's supposed to be here, right? Compared to when I thought I was going to Jacksonville, everything possible was falling apart. Like, oh, okay. So that is how you also know that it's where you're supposed to be and you're moving in the right direction, right? Again, I didn't have a job. I did not have a job. I left the job I had back home and I came down here without a job, and I was applying for stuff I had been applying before I had even got here. I just hadn't heard anything yet, and I wasn't about to let that make me stop me from coming. Like, you can find a job. Like, go find a job. And of course, you know, being here, I was like, okay, I haven't found a job. What do I do? And you have to remember some of the stuff that has got you where you are in life. even though you're in a new city, there are things that have helped you survive that you need to tap back into. So I was like, oh, a staffing agency. Duh, they always have work and they'll put you to work and you have a great relationship with a few, some not so much, but I did. And I called the staffing agency down here and literally within like 2 weeks I was working, and I've been working ever since down here. I was like, I've had a couple jobs, but I've been working ever since. So had I waited for this job piece to come to play or come into fruition, I might have got stuck in the doubting. I might have got stuck in not believing. I might have started listening to people who were like, maybe it's not a good time. I don't know why you want to do that. Where are you going to go? Why are you doing that? That don't sound right. Ooh, that don't make sense. I would have got stuck in that mindset and then probably not even ever left and moved. And would I have become who I am today? Probably, but would it would have happened today? Probably not. I'd probably be like further off from actually where I am today. So sometimes taking those risks and not allowing everything to be perfect, but still taking the risk ends up being the best experience ever. I would not change the fact that I moved to Texas when I did, how I did it, the things that I have gone through since moving here. I wouldn't change any of it. I wouldn't change the stuff that led up to me moving. I wouldn't change me living in California, that for the first time at 19, like that's what helped me to know that I could get out here and really try stuff. I also wouldn't change Chicago. I lived there and did not like it at all, but that helped me to know that it's okay to go somewhere and try something and it not work, and you go back home or you move to the next place and remap out your plans. Like I would have never known that. So I don't take back any of it. I appreciate it all, and I feel like it has all helped to make me who I am. And when you're thinking about moving, just think about the experience. It's an adventure. Everything shouldn't be perfect. Like life is not perfect. And if you're waiting for that perfect moment, you're going to get stuck. And then even if you do move and everything's perfect, when stuff falls apart, you're going to fall apart with it. And that doesn't go together. So I would just really think about it. If you're at a place where you're really wanting to move and like, I think this is it. I think this is the time. This is it then. And this is the time. This is it. Go for it. Jump out there. Don't be so attached to your job. Don't be so attached to, I got to think about so and so and so and so. Don't be so attached. Sometimes you got to live for you. Sometimes you got to get out there, and sometimes in order to help other people, you have to help yourself. You have to do your own work first. Like I can't send money back home to take care of mom and buy her a house and all the stuff that these rappers always say they want to take care of mom and buy her houses and all those things. They can't do that if they're staying in the same environment that's not conducive to them thriving, to them growing and evolving. If they stay in the same neighborhood where mom is at, where they know that they cannot thrive, they're never going to be able to reach those dreams and those goals. They have to leave and go somewhere else to be great and awesome, and then be able to go back and give. That happens. Like that is sometimes the way that you have to step away, take care of you to be able to go back and help and take care of somebody else. So if that is you, you're not selfish, you're not crazy. It's possible, it's doable, and you're not obligated to stay there. Just because you move somewhere doesn't mean like you can't ever leave it. You can't. That's not true. I was thinking like stuff's going on in the world. Be careful where you go. But even then, that's limiting mind belief too. You're not stuck anywhere. So go out there, do it. If you want more tips, or if you want me to tell you some of the stuff I used, or just one-on-one about moving, have any other questions, please feel free to let me know. Be sure to like and subscribe. I appreciate you following and watching this video. I didn't mean to go so long, but I hope that you have a great day. And here is a quote. If we were meant to stay in one place, we'd have roots instead of feet. Get on your feet and go have some fun. That is Rachel Wolchin. Have a great and awesome day.